ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नम ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। ॐ नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्तकांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंकुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यमीश्वरम्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी हृदयानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे कृष्णा। So we had completed up to verse number 5 of chapter 8 of Bhagavad Gita till the last session. And what we saw in this chapter so far is actually Arjuna asking to Krishna a set of questions. Ki Krishna, what do you mean by Adhibhuta? What do you mean by Adhidaiva? And what is this material nature? What is Adhyatma? What is Brahman? And who is that personality who is called Yatya Purusha? And how is he sitting within the heart of everyone? And all these things. So Arjuna asked all these questions to Krishna, and the last thing he asked was that how can one fix his mind upon that person who is sitting within everyone's heart, right? So prayana kale, the word was used when the time is up in this body and you have to leave this body. How can somebody know you, Krishna, and attain you? That is what Arjuna asked Krishna in the first two verses of this chapter. After that, up till fourth verse, Krishna was answering all these questions of Arjuna. He first said that Brahman is that spiritual consciousness, which is actually giving life to everything. That is Brahman. And what is the eternal nature of this Brahman? That is called Adhyatma. It's Swabhava of Brahman. So then after that, Krishna went to say that what is Adi Deva. There we spoke about Purusha. Krishna uses the word Purusha there to include all the Devatas and everyone. Then Krishna was speaking about, he elaborately explained on all these points till the fourth verse. And after that, he started speaking elaborately on the last thing that Arjuna asked. That was that how can one fix his mind on you, Krishna? So, first of all, Krishna told that, the Adiyajna, the person for whom the sacrifices are done, you know, that personality is me only, Arjun. And I reside within the heart of every living entity as Paramatma. So Krishna spoke these words, and after that, the entire chapter now is actually dedicated to the prayana kale. Like how can you perfect your life? That is what this entire chapter is going to speak about. Krishna spoke about all those things: Brahman, Adibhuta, Adideva, Adhyatma, everything, and at last he started explaining that prayana kale, or what to do at the time of death, in great detail throughout this chapter. So we can see that. Now, from the sixth verse onwards, we will see in the fifth verse, Krishna has already spoken to Arjun that if you remember me at the time of death, you will attain me. That is what Krishna says. Like whatever, yam yam vapismaran bhavam. So whenever you are leaving this body, whatever thoughts you have, wherever your consciousness takes you, that is what you attain, Arjuna. Right? And if you see, this is actually very logical. How this material nature works, we have to understand a bit, about this. Then only we can proceed further. See, this material world is actually a place which is created. See, we all are actually Shakti of Krishna, that we saw in the seventh chapter of the Gita. There, Krishna explains that there is an inferior energy of mind which is called Maya, and there is a superior energy of my mind which we call as Tatastha Shakti, which is actually spiritual in nature, which is part and parcel of Krishna. It is spiritual in nature, and it is superior to Maya because Maya is dead matter. So, spirit is having, we have this Chetana, we have consciousness, but dead matter doesn't have consciousness. So, this is also Krishna's energy only. This Maya, it is Krishna's energy only, and we are also Krishna's energy only. The only difference being that the Jiva Atma is actually a superior form of energy as compared to Maya. Why? Because Maya is dead matter and we are spirit. And we are actually not Jada, we have Chetana, and along with Chetana, we also have qualities of Krishna. Like Krishna is Sat Chit and Ananda. Similarly, the spirit soul, which is part and parcel of Krishna, is also Sat Chit and Ananda in nature. The degrees are different, but in nature, we are like that. We are like one with Krishna. Quantitatively, we are no match with Krishna, but qualitatively, because he is our supreme father, we have the same qualities, we share the same qualities as Krishna, same basic qualities, not getting into the pastime point of view and Leela point of view. That qualities are Ananta with Krishna. But as far as the basic constitutional condition or quality of the soul is concerned, it is one like Krishna. It is Sat Chit and Ananda. And this is the reason why we are actually continuously seeking pleasure in this world. Everybody in this world is seeking pleasure. Even the yogis in the Himalayas who have left everything of this world, and without even clothes, they are sitting, in like inside the caves of Himalayas. They are also seeking pleasure, but their pleasure is different from the people who are trying to enjoy the matter in this world. It is different, but certainly they are also seeking pleasure. Their Ananda is called Brahmananda. People of this world are trying to exploit this material nature and get out, like suck out some pleasure from it. How? Through the senses. and through the mind and through the intelligence, right? This propensity of trying to derive pleasure out of this dead matter, which is an energy of Krishna, you know, keeping Krishna away from the picture. This is called lust or kama. This desire is called kama. That is why Krishna, in the very beginning of the Bhagavad Gita itself, he says that, the biggest enemy, Arjuna, where he is sitting in your senses, he is sitting in your mind, and he is sitting in your intellect. And this great enemy of yours is nothing but lust or kama, right? So the propensity to enjoy this world, to derive pleasure, staying away from Krishna and not bringing Krishna into the picture, when you know that this energy belongs to Krishna, is lust. That is why Ravana is the personality who embodies lust. Studying Ravana is studying lust only, actually. He tried to take away Sita Maya, who is the energy of the Lord, and tried to enjoy, you know. So this propensity is a Ravana propensity. This is called lust. And why do we have lust? Because it is our nature to seek pleasure. Now we will have a question. If it is our nature, then how is it wrong? It is wrong because we are searching for that in the wrong place, in a wrong way. Our ananda or our pleasure or our happiness or our ecstasy is actually related to Krishna. When we are one with Krishna, like for example, if someone has a very beautiful wife, right? She has a very long hair, and she's, very beautiful, and she has a very nice, character, and she's a very nice, like, person. So this person, this husband, he loves her hair very much. He is madly attached to her hair. Say for example, there are some people who love hair very much. So he loves his wife's hair, for example. But you think, one fine day in the morning, when she comes and gives him, breakfast and tea, whatever he gives, like, he gets breakfast from his wife, and he finds that in the breakfast there is, her hair. Like, not hair breakfast, but what I'm trying to say is, like, for example, if he is having a bhaji and he finds that there is a piece of her hair in the bhaji, what will he do? Will he just see, oh, my beloved hair, you are here, I love you so much? He won't say like that, right? He would say that, oh, he will, definitely start yelling at the wife that, तुमको अक्कल नहीं है, देख के नहीं कर सकते कोई भी चीज, बाल बांधा करो, etc., etc., whatever they might say. Why am I giving you this example is because that is the same hair that he loved, but when that hair is, detached from the body of his beloved, of his wife, that same hair became nasty for him. So enjoying apart from Krishna is like this. When I say that we are part and parcel of Krishna, Krishna is like a big fire, and we are like small particles of fire. You know that spark. We are like that spark. Does that spark have any status of its own? Detaching itself from the fire? No, it will burn into ashes. It has no value. It gets the value. It derives the value from the fact that it is part and parcel of the fire, from the fact that he is with the fire. That's what gives that spark value. So similarly, when we try to so our real pleasure should be in serving Krishna. Jivera swarupa hoye Krishnera nitya das. So we must be serving Krishna and deriving pleasure out of it, deriving pleasure out of service, because we are eternally servants of Krishna. But somehow or other, we have got this mentality of, turning away from Krishna and enjoying everything for our sake, selfishly. And initially we think that we are enjoying in this world, But subsequently we realize that, oh no, everything is ending up in misery alone. And Maya Devi, Krishna's external energy, makes sure that we are bound in this jail of material existence, thinking that, having hope that my next endeavor will be a success and I will get pleasure from it. This is what Maya is, right? So, uh, we are part and parcel of Krishna, and we are supposed to render loving service unto him. But we have somehow, Krishna bahir mukha, we have turned our attention from Krishna, and we are trying to enjoy this material world, which is actually Krishna's own energy, and we are trying to enjoy it. But all our attempts are nothing but utter failures. All our attempts to enjoy this world nothing but utter failures. That we can, just think of any kind of pleasure in this world, and we can, immediately come to this understanding that, oh no, it is going to end up in suffering alone. So this material world is made in such a way that we learn lessons out of it. This material world has 8.4 million species of life in it, and the soul transmigrates from one form of life to the other form of life as per all the, karmas that it has done, and all the desires and the level of consciousness that the person carries. It is how it is decided that what kind of a body the person is going to be allotted in the very next life. So throughout our lives, whatever we do, we are actually, molding our minds. We are actually molding our consciousness. And in a way, when we mold our consciousness in a particular way, so it gives material nature a hint of what our desires are. Like, for example, if a person loves to swim very much, and he is very much attached with surfing and swimming, and if that person, he or she is, enjoying in the ocean for 8 hours, 10 hours continuously in a day, so it is actually indirectly giving signal to Maya Devi that, I love the species in which, I can be in the ocean, or I can be in some water bodies. This is what I like. And Maya Devi sanctions it according to our consciousness and all these things. So we see that whatever we do for a prolonged period of time, whatever thoughts we have for a prolonged period of time, whatever association we are in for a prolonged period of time, it actually shapes our consciousness. It actually makes us think in a particular direction. It actually makes us, have a point of view, or have a perspective towards certain things, right? We all have this, in last 20-30 years of our lives, whatever age ours are. So we know this, that we have this tendency of molding our consciousness, right? Our consciousness gets molded according to the association and according to our, activities and all these things. So whatever we do for a prolonged period of time, that becomes part of our nature, and after that our consciousness takes us to that direction only all the time. It is very difficult to tame the mind and bring it back. This is how the habits are formed and all these things happen. So, whatever we do throughout our life, at the end of our life, when we are on the deathbed, on the last examination of our life, at that point, our mind will definitely take us to that place only. Our consciousness will definitely go to that, go in that direction only, where, like, what we have done for, like, our entire life. That is what happens, right? So it becomes very difficult to remember Krishna at the time of death. If we are engaged in sense gratification, and with all the lustful propensities in us, like feeding the lust our entire life, it is not possible for a person like that to remember Krishna at the time of death. So what kind of a person will remember Krishna at the time of death? Who throughout his life has remembered Krishna, he'll remember Krishna at the time of death. For a person who has, you know, who has been an alcoholic, or who has been into some very illicit habits, a person who has acquired all these, negativities, and whose consciousness is polluted, such a person tends to think of certain things of this material world according to the gunas, according to the qualities of the material nature that he has acquired over the course of his life. So that is why his consciousness will go in certain direction, and he will attain a certain species of life, right? So this is how, in a very short summary, we can say that this is how this world works, how the concept of punarjanma works. Like wherever our consciousness is going at the end of our life, that is where we are also going to go. Like there is a very nice story in Srimad Bhagavatam of Emperor Bharata. It is said that Emperor Bharata was such a personality. He was so detached, and he went into the forest after taking retirement from the service as a king, and he was doing his tapasya very nicely. It's a great devotee. And one fine day, when Bharat Maharaj, when he was, doing something, he saw that one deer, she was being chased by a lion, okay, by a wild animal, and she was pregnant. And when she was jumping across a river, she gave birth to a child. She gave birth to a little baby deer. So now that baby deer, she was, she or he was alone, and Bharat Maharaj felt very compassionate, that how will, who will take care of this deer and so on. So when he saw that, he thought that okay, somehow or the other, I'll take care of this deer for some time, at least, when he is capable of doing things on his own, then fine, I'll take care of him. When he started taking care of that little deer, he understood that, mm, he was getting attached day by day to the deer. He was very much attached to the deer, so much so that once the deer got big, it just went away into the forest, and Bharat Maharaj was all alone now. And when he was, quitting his body, he was actually remembering that deer, that where that deer might have went, and because he was so attached to the deer. So you see, his consciousness actually carried him, to that place where his mind was so attached, and consequently, after quitting his current body, he attained the body of a deer. Rest of the story is very nice, how he got, like delivered in even the form of deer, and he took next birth as a human being, and it's a different story, it's a big story. But what I'm trying to say is that, it is an example that is given in the Shastras itself, and these are true stories, right? So these are true incidents. We can see throughout the Shastra that wherever our mind, or wherever our consciousness goes at the time of death, that is what we attain in the next life. So from here on, so Krishna says that, so you remember me at the time of death, and you will come to my place, and we'll enjoy there eternally. That is the idea. So I'll share the screen, this being the introduction. यं यं वापि स्मरन् भावं त्यजति अन्ते कलेवरं, तं तं एवैति कौन्तेय सदा तद्भावभावितः. यं यं वापि स्मरन् भावं, whatever, whatever, you know you remember, right? Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajati ante kalevaram. When you are tyajati, when you are leaving this kalevar, this body, right? Tam tam eva eti kaunteya. You certainly reach there. You will certainly reach that place, Kaunteya. Sada tad bhava bhavitah. You know, because you have always remembered it. This is what. Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. Right? This we had discussed in length actually. तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु माम् अनुस्मरयुध्य च मय्यर्पितमनो बुद्धिर्माम् एवैष्यसि असंशयः. तस्मात्, therefore, सर्वेषु कालेषु, for all the time, kaleshu, kala means time, sarva means everything or all. So sarveshu kaleshu means all the time. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu, therefore all the time, mam anusmara yudhyacha. Mam anusmara, think of me, right? Mam, like me, anusmara means to remember, right? So mam anusmara means go on remembering me. Yudhya. Yudhya means to fight. Cha is and. So mam anusmara yudhya cha means and you think of me and fight all the time. My arpita manobuddhir. My arpita manobuddhir. With that man, that is mind, and buddhi, that is intellect, which is arpita, which is offered my to me, like that. My arpita manobuddhir. Mam eva इष्यसि असंशयः. माम एव एष्यसि असंशयः. You will come to me. Eva, certainly. Asamshayah, without a doubt. Beyond a doubt. Don't doubt. You will come to me. So what is Krishna saying here? Therefore, all the time, O Arjuna, you think of me and fight. So with the mind and intellect which is offered to me, in thinking of me all the time, you will certainly reach me without a fail, without a doubt. See. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna and at the same time carry on your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubts. See, it's so beautiful. The first thing is, so, like, whenever somebody says this, like to you, that you have to always think of Krishna, like Krishna, all the time throughout Bhagavad Gita, you have seen this. Krishna never speaks about 1 hour a day, 2 hour a day, 30 minutes a day business. Nowhere in Bhagavad Gita he ever says this. Every time he says Sarva, Sarveshu Gadeshu, all the time. Satatam Kirtanatam, always do my Kirtan. Right? So Krishna never speaks of all this hours and minutes business. He says that all the time you do, right? Without any reservation. This one. So somebody might say that how can somebody remember Krishna all the time? अरे मुझे ऑफिस जाना है, मुझे ये करना है, मुझे वो करना है. How can one remember Krishna all the time? So Krishna was only giving the solution. Krishna is not saying that don't go to office, don't do your work, stay at your home. No, Krishna is not saying that. Krishna is saying Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha. He is saying that fight your battles. And how do you fight your battle? Thinking of me. Which means that we must not fight our battles or carry out our prescribed duties out of lust for our own sake. That I'll go to office, I'll get money, and I'll just enjoy my life. That is why I want to go to office. No. Krishna says that you think of me and you fight. Don't give up. You fight, but fight thinking of me. Right? So we have to mold our consciousness in such a way that everything that we do in our life is actually dedicated for Krishna. It is a very difficult thing to do. It is easier said than done. But actually, it is not impossible. There are people who do this, and with practice, we can definitely come to this point. How does it happen? So we have to follow all the, you know, steps of bhakti very, and we have to be very dedicated and disciplined, and, you know, anukulya se krishnana sheelanam. So we have to accept everything that is, favorable and which takes us towards Krishna, and reject everything that is not favorable and which doesn't take us to Krishna, which takes us away from Krishna, without giving a second thought. When you have this criteria fixed up in your mind, that's when all these, verses become a reality for you. That's when all these verses become a reality for us. When we can, you know, when we can be so intense for Krishna that Krishna, somehow or other, I want you. Without you, my life is a waste. I want you. I have wasted so many of my lifetimes, my Lord, without being in your association. I have, enough. I have stayed away from you for so long. I have done so many mistakes and blunders, and I have committed so many sins and, you know, faults and aparads, whatnot. I have offended so many people. I have just gave you all the reasons for, for proving that I am unworthy, but still you are there for me. Now, Krishna, I have understood what my mistakes were and I will never commit them again. But you promise me that you will help me. That is what we must pray to Krishna. Krishna, I am sorry for everything that I have done in the past, but I somehow or the other want you. And I'm ready to go to whatever extent it may take. It is just that you just stand besides me. You just help me. Right? Because with my own tiny endeavor, I cannot just come to you, my Lord. Without your help, without you sending me a guru, without you helping me at each and every step, how can I expect to come back? You just help me out. We can sincerely pray and we can sincerely cry for the mercy of Lord. That is when we will come to this stage. So 9 things we have to do regularly to come to this platform is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Mandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. Start with Shravanam. Hear about Krishna. Make this a habit. Hearing about Krishna, that every day, every single day without fail, I will hear about you, my Lord. Because when you hear about Krishna, Paramatma inside you, Krishna as Paramatma inside you, he will understand, oh yes, this guy, he is interested in me. She is interested in me. She has started, you know, hearing about me. So when do you hear about someone? When you are interested in that person, right? When you want to know about that person. When you are genuinely interested about Krishna, you will keep hearing about Krishna. Hearing does not become a burden then. Many a times we see that, hearing becomes a burden after a point of time. अरे यार सेम स्टोरी है यार, बार बार हर बार ये सेम कथा कैसे सुनूं यार, कुछ है ना. But the advanced devotees, they have this tendency of hearing the same things again and again and again. And you know what, Krishna is ever new and ever fresh. This is the test whether if you are, advancing in Krishna consciousness or not. If you are advancing in Krishna consciousness, then nothing is old and boring for you, because Krishna is ever new and ever fresh, and Krishna katha is also like that only. It is because of the impurities in our heart, we have the tendency to enjoy, and that tendency to enjoy is actually the chatter in the mind which says that, oh no, this is boring, and this might be boring because I know this, right? So we have to protect ourselves from that mentality of getting bored. And how do you do that? Sincerely pray to Krishna that Krishna, give me some genuine interest in you, right? Being helpless like a child. That is how you do it. So, Shravanam. hear about Krishna a lot, especially from advanced devotees. You have to hear about Krishna, not from some mundane speakers or poets. No, from advanced devotees. When you hear about Krishna, yasya shravana matrena hari chittam samashraye. Just by hearing alone, Krishna enters your heart and never leaves. Right? Krishna will start dancing in the courtyard of your heart. Yasya shravana matrena. You have to just listen about Krishna. Just hear about Krishna. And whatever we hear, we keep on contemplating on it. Are ha. Whatever we see in this world, it just resembles, you know, Krishna. A little, a mother carrying a little child and going. You immediately remember how, Yashoda Maya would pick up Krishna, and how Srimad Bhagavatam, it explains how Krishna was like when he was a baby, and how he would, smile, and how he would be afraid when he finds some, you know, some gopi or gopa whom he is not, you know, like familiar to, and all these things. As a child, he would be like that. So you will remember immediately. When you see a lotus, you remember, oh my lord, your feet would be like this only, as soft as the petal of this lotus, right? Because throughout the shastras I have heard that, everybody calls you pankajangre, and, oh lotus feet lord, and all those things. So this, the lotus will resemble, you will just think about Krishna. Namaha pankaja nabhaya, namaha pankaja maline, namaha pankaja netraya, namaste pankajangre. So Kunti Maharani in her prayers in Srimad Bhagavatam first canto 8th chapter, she says that Namaha Pankaja Nabhaya, I bow down to you, Pankaja Nabhaya, who's from whose navel a lotus appears. Namaha Pankaja Maline, Namaha Pankaja Netraya, like one who has a face like a lotus, one who has an eyes like a lotus. Namaste Pankajangre, whose feet is like a lotus. So, whenever you see lotus in this world, you will immediately remember, oh yes, my Lord, you are like a lotus, I have heard. Similarly, when we see a fresh rain-filled cloud, you will remember, oh yes, Sham Sundar. Sham Sundar might be like this only, because in Shastras I have heard. So you see, how do we see Krishna in this world? We see Krishna by hearing, because our eyes are not capable of seeing Krishna face to face, chin to chin right now. But our ears, through our ears, we can see Krishna. In everything, whatever we see, we can just connect that to Krishna. So that is the idea. So Shravanam, Kirtanam. So the more you hear, then only you will be able to speak about Krishna. Right? So Shravanam is the first step. So what we can do practically is that we can hear every day about Krishna. Then after that, we can take some points and we can share it with a friend. Oh, do you know something? I have heard this. In a class of so and so Prabhuji or so and so Maharaj or so and so Mataji, I have heard this point. Prabhu, this is a beautiful point. I'll tell you. You can share that. Reading is a form of Shravanam, right? Reading is a form of Shravanam. And even it is said that Srimad Bhagavatam we should do supathan. So like we can make notes and learn, study Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Highlight the points which are important, which seems important, you don't want to forget. You can take the shlokas and memorize them, and make notes of it, and try to retain it, try to think on it, ponder upon it. And whenever you get time, you go to a friend, you find a friend who is like minded like you, and tell him, you know what, Prabhuji, I heard this today. You know what, Mataji, this point I heard, it's a very beautiful point, you see, like that. Then Shravanam, then Kirtanam happens. Kirtanam is speaking about Krishna. Whoever you meet, if you think that person is a little favorable, you can share about Krishna to them. Right? Janma sarthaka kari kara paro upakar. Like you have got this human form of life. Our parampara, the mission of this parampara of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is to Janma sarthaka kari. First, make our life, successful. Janma sarthaka kari. Make our life perfect. And kara para upakar. And after that, wherever you go, whomever you meet, do para upakar, right? You help them also to make their life perfect. So we hear about Krishna, and then we speak about Krishna, like Shravanam and Kirtan. Daily chanting is Shravanam and Kirtanam both. We are Kirtanam doing Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And the same thing we are hearing. So Shravanam, then Kirtan, both are happening. Vishnu, Smaranam, and then we have to think. You have to memorize and remember. How do you remember the Lord? Whatever you have heard, whatever you have spoke, you remember, right? Oh yes, this is what Krishna is like. Oh, this Leela was like this. You can just do Smaran. You can do Smaran of philosophy. Whatever we see in this world, we are seeing somebody suffering in this world. We can have compassion towards them. That Mahaprabhu says that Trinadapi Sunijena, Taroriva Sahishnuna, Amanina Manadena, Kirtaniya Sadahari. Somebody who is trying to, say for example, insult you, you immediately come across this verse, come across your mind. Oh yes, Amanina Manadena. This person, even though he is not respecting me, I must give him respect. Trinadapi Sunijana. I should not be proud if somebody is telling me, "Oh my God, you are so nice." He is, flattering you, or maybe he is speaking the truth also. Uh, like, for example, Mataji, you cook so well, or Mataji, your work is awesome, or you look very nice, or whatever. That person speaks about you. Very nice words. We should not be proud. We should always be humble. Humble like a blade of grass. Trinadapi Sunichana. So immediately when somebody is giving you some praises, this is the verse that appears in your mind. Oh yes, you know, Trinadapi Sunichana. I should not be proud. So this is also Smaranam. Second thing, if somebody is like blaspheming you and talking ill about you and doing all those things, and you are really getting agitated in your mind. Sometimes you are really agitated. We are like pressure cooker. We just want to explode, right? The pressure is building inside. At that point, Tarori was Sahishnuna. We should be Sahishnu. We should be tolerant like a tree. We remember. Oh yes, Shastra says this. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has told us. Anytime when we come across a particular situation or a particular person or a particular thing, and our mind is getting agitated, say for example, you uh, you are getting, say for example, a sugar rush. You are feeling like eating a lot of chocolates when you know that you are not supposed to do it. And you were initially you were crossing the road or something, or you were going on a vehicle, and you found on the roadside that there was a big advertisement in which a person was actually eating a chocolate ice cream. And immediately your mind has started thinking about that chocolate. How beautiful, how tasty that would be. I just want to somehow or the other eat it. Come on, Esa. At that point you remember, oh yes, this Krishna has spoke in the Bhagavad Gita second chapter, that dhyayato vishayan pumsa sangasteshopajayate, sangat sanjayate kamat krodho vijayate, krodhat bhavati sammohat smriti vibramam, smriti bhramshat buddhinashat pranashyati. Oh yes, dhyayato vishayan pumsa. This is vishaya. This chocolate is vishaya. Why? Because it is a sense object, right? And my senses are agitated to have it. Dhyayato vishayan pumsa, and I am dhyayato. I am contemplating on it. And what happens after this? Sanga, attachment happens. Dhyayato vishayan pumsa sangaste shopajayate, sangat samjayate kama. Then once we have got that attachment, it will lead to kama, it will lead to lust, and then lust become a wrath, and so on and so forth. So just a small incident, but what we remembered a verse from Bhagavad Gita that Krishna has spoken. This is Smaran. Right? We have to do smaranam of Krishna. When we say smaranam of Krishna, we can have smaranam of Krishna's pastimes, or we can have smaranam of Krishna's words in Bhagavad Gita. We can have smarana about great devotees of the Lord and their relationship with the Lord. There is so much to remember about Krishna. When you really miss someone, that is what you do, right? You just remember them. So smaranam is the third thing. We have to remember Krishna. And trust me, when you do a lot of Shravanam and Kirtanam, you will automatically start doing Smaranam. Smaranam becomes a habit after a point of time. Whatever you do, whatever somebody might be saying, it might be a rubbish, but you just connect it with the philosophy. Say for example, in this world, people have a habit of saying, I have seen this. People have a habit of saying, "Kya re chhod sab moh maya hai." Like that people say, right? So they are not understanding the meaning of moh or maya. Dono ka meaning nahi pata wo log. But still they are saying. So once we hear that, you immediately connect to the philosophy. Oh yes, Maya Devi is the external energy of Krishna. This dead matter comprises of Maya only, and Moha means being attached to Maya and thinking that it is real and it is forever. This is Moha, right? Then somebody might be saying something from some other perspective which has nothing to do with, he might not be thinking about the real philosophy behind it. But still, when we hear, like, we all have this experience, right? You all might have this experience of, somebody saying something, and inside your mind actually something else is only going on. You are thinking about Krishna at that point, right? It happens. So when you have to become like a, say for example, a rasgulla, be sponge which has absorbed Krishna Katha in it through Shravanam and Kirtanam continuously. And because of that, now Smaranam is happening. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam. You have to do Pada Sevanam. Like, you have to worship Him and you have to offer service unto Him. Service is a very important element. Like Shravanam and Kirtanam might build a strong base for you, but the realizations will come through doing seva, doing service. So you have to find a Vaishnava or a Vaishnavi, and you have to serve them sincerely. And when you serve them, when they are pleased, when you serve Krishna, when Krishna is pleased, smaranam becomes easy, right? Krishna from within only, like, gives you instruction. Like in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, there is a very beautiful verse. Uh, you know, Therein Krishna says that Sarvasya Chaham Hridhi Sannivishto Matta Smritirjnanam Apohanam Cha Vedescha Sarve Rahameva Vedyo Vedanta Vidveda Krit Eva Chaham. So Krishna says that Sarvasya Chaham Hridhi Sannivishto. I am that person who is sitting inside the heart of everyone. Sarvasya Cha Aham Hridhi Sannivishto. Mattah, from me, Smriti, Jnanam, Apohanam cha. From me only Smriti, that is remembrance, Jnanam, knowledge, and Apohanam means forgetfulness. All these things are coming. Which means that if we forget to remember Krishna, then Krishna from within, as Paramatma, can can give you a touch and make you remember that, say, remember me. So you have to pray to Krishna. And how do you pray to Krishna? That is how you express your love to Krishna. And when you express your love to Krishna, love means reciprocation. How do you reciprocate? Through service. When you are taking out time for Krishna and trying to serve him sincerely, so then he is pleased, right? Then he will understand, oh yes, this person is genuinely interested in me, so I'll also be interested in him. It will happen that way, right? So you have to do seva, pada sevanam, archanam. Bring a deity at your home and worship it. Worship him. This archa vigraha is the most, one of the most compassionate forms of the Lord. Why? Because the Lord appears within the archa vigraha. And these archa vigraha, well, like, there is a lot to say about this, a lot of pastimes and stuff, but I'm not getting into all those things. But what I'm trying to say is, this archa vigraha is not different from Krishna. Why? Because Krishna has appeared in it to accept your service. So when you bring archa vigraha and do puja of archa vigraha, you give him bhoga to have, give him prasad, and take care of him. You give him new clothes and all those things. He is giving you an opportunity to serve him, just like how Yashoda Maya or Radharani does in Goloka Vrindavan. He's giving you an opportunity, like coming as an archa vigraha, right? So You have to serve him like that. This increases the devotion in the heart, and you can just not forget Krishna. I am very, fortunate with this thing that I have seen many devotees. I am very closely associated with some devotees who are actually mad for Krishna. They have deities at their home and they are just mad about Krishna. There is nothing in their life that they think apart from Krishna. Nothing in their life that they think not keeping Krishna in the center. They are always thinking about Krishna. Whatever they do, they'll say that, "अरे मेरे ठाकुर जी को, मेरे ठाकुर जी के लिए ये करना है, मेरे ठाकुर जी के लिए वो करना है." Like that. Whatever they do in their life, it is for the sake of Krishna. They are living for the sake of Krishna. When you do that, even every breath that you take in your life becomes a service to the Lord, because you are not breathing for your own sake, but you are doing it for Krishna. And when you do that, smaranam becomes easy, right? Vandanam, pay obeisances. It's a very, very simple but profound thing. Every day in the morning, come before the Lord and pay obeisances to Him. Krishna never forgets all these things. Once you bow down to Him, He'll, remember that for eternity. And, He'll always feel happy about that thing. Paying obeisances. Doing stuti, taking some parts of Srimad Bhagavatam, some great prayers that were offered by great devotees of the Lord, and reciting it for Krishna, and saying that, "My dear Lord, I don't have this consciousness that with which this devotee has, offered these prayers. But my Lord, I just want to serve you. I want that consciousness. I am craving for it." You know, like that. It is said that with all your punya and with all the good deeds that you have done, all the dana that you have done, all the yajna that you have done, you cannot get Krishna. You cannot get bhakti. The only cost that you have to pay for bhakti is laulyam. Spiritual greed you should have. Then only you will get Krishna. And when a person is greedy, even in this world, he forgets everything. He forgets his self-respect. He forgets everything, and like a madman, he is willing to beg in front of everyone or anyone for that matter, because he wants to fulfill his greed. So similarly, we must be spiritually greedy. We must beg before Krishna. "Krishna, I have no one. You give me your shelter." You have to try to take shortcuts. You have to go to Radharani and say that, "Tell to Krishna, if you recommend, he will never say no. And I know that you are more merciful. Come on, please show me your mercy." You can go to Vrindavan and cry day in and day out so that you can get Krishna. So these are some methods and ways in which you can, come to that point where Krishna says, "Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhyacha." Even if when you are fighting in this world, in this material existence, in this cutthroat competition, uh, and you are doing all your material duties, you can simply remember Krishna. Make Krishna a part of your life. Srila Radha Govind Maharaj would say this, that, you know like, bringing Krishna into your life doesn't mean that you have to take away anything from your life. You have to just add in your life. Add Krishna to your life. If somebody is a family member, somebody is a grihastha, he has kids and a wife, he can bring Krishna to their home and make Krishna part of their family. And within no time, he'll realize that, everything in my home is now revolving around Krishna. Krishna is the pillar of our, home, like that. So, Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha, you can just go out and fight. But along with fighting, always think about me. That is what Krishna is saying. You don't have to run away, Arjun. You don't have to change your profession for that matter. You have to just think of me. Once I was in Vrindavan, and I was attending a Srimad Bhagavatam class. It was given by Gaurang Prabhu in Vrindavan Dham. It was a very Like, I was very fortunate. So after the class, actually, I had asked him a doubt on that day. So I was telling him that, Prabhuji, you are saying that we should be tolerant and we should be, always thinking about serving and all these things. That is right. But how is it possible that we can, selflessly serve everyone when we have this tendency to, find faults and all those things? So it was a very beautiful, you know, point that Gaurang Prabhu made. That Gaurang Prabhu to asked me that, what do you do? So I told him that so and so profession I belong to, and he told me that, okay, does your profession involve killing anyone? I said no problem. So he said that, but Arjuna's profession was too, right? He had to kill. And did Krishna tell Arjuna to change his profession? Said no. So he said that, so that is what, you don't have to change your profession or anything. So actually, my doubt was that, finding faults in people at office and all those things. So it was a very big doubt. But so Prabhuji concluded it in this way. So it is about your perspective and consciousness with which you are doing. It is not about, the activity. It is not about your profession, but it is about the consciousness or the perspective or the outlook towards that profession, right? So you can carry out your duties in this world, but still you can think of Krishna in the background. Still the purpose of you doing things can be for the sake of Krishna. I will earn so and so because I want to run a family in which, in the home, all the family members can peacefully sit and chant the holy names of the Lord and serve Krishna. I want to earn a little more because I want to give donation to the temple, right? I so similarly everything can be molded around Krishna. It is not impossible to do that, but the only thing that is, very uh, vital and essential when it comes to perfecting your life is actually taking blessing from Vaishnavas. If you have Vaishnavas around you, if you have good association of great sincere devotees around you, they will make sure that you remember Krishna all the time. So tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmarayutya. You don't have to change your profession. You don't have to leave everything and run away into the forest. No, you have to just think about Krishna. You have to just change the perspective. You just have to change your consciousness and take it towards Krishna. That is what. And by doing this, my arpita mano buddhir. By doing this, we can offer our, senses. We can offer our mind and we can offer our intelligence to Krishna. My arpita mano buddhir. Krishna says that with that intelligence, body, and mind that is, offered to me, arpita means to offer, arpan karma. Like we say, कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणाय इति समर्पयामि. Right? Everything that we have, we offer to Krishna, we offer to Narayana. So Krishna says that you have to. So how do you offer your mind and buddhi to Krishna? It is by thinking of Krishna. It is by hearing about Krishna. It is by doing devotional service. That is how you have Krishna in your mind, right? You give Krishna the space inside your heart. And by doing all these things, you are sure to attain me. You will come to me. That is what Krishna is saying. Mam eva eshyasi asamshaya. Do not doubt. Go beyond doubts. Right? You will come to me for sure. So for going back to Krishna, what is the most necessary thing? It is to think about him all the time. How do you think about him? By all these things: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, in friendship, Atmanivedanam, giving yourself, surrendering to Krishna. Right? These 9 processes. Then having good association, reading Prabhupada books daily. It is direct association with Prabhupada. So reading Prabhupada books daily, you know, uh, and eating Krishna prasadam, offering food to Krishna and eating it. By doing all these things, our consciousness becomes developed, and we can always think of Krishna. Krishna will sing. Krishna will just, you will just become Krishnamai by doing it. Everything that you do, we have to mold our life and shape our life in such a way that you can just remember Krishna the entire day. So even if it is not the entire day, but at least we can start with, you know, uh, like some hours of the day. And Krishna is a thief, of course. He'll steal away your heart in no time, actually. Dhanam cha manam cha tatendriyani. Bilva Mangal Thakur in his beautiful Chaurashtakam, he says that you are such a thief. you know you take away everything, and such a big thief you are. So he is a great thief. So he will take away our heart also. So some of the acharyas, when they comment, they say that uh, you know Krishna stealing butter, what does it signify? They say that actually our heart is like a stone now, right? When it becomes, like, by doing all these processes, by doing all these sadhanas, when it becomes as soft as a butter, then the butter thief will come and steal it away, like that. So we have to somehow or the other make sure that we can melt our heart to a point to make it soft, right? So that that butter thief from Golok Vrindavan comes and steals your heart away. And when your heart is stolen away by Krishna, what happens is you can just not stop thinking about him. All the time you will be thinking about Krishna. Everything in this world will just remind you of Krishna. Every flower that you see, you feel that, oh, wish I could just offer it to my Lord. Or everything for that matter you see, you will just connect it with Krishna. And when you keep on thinking about Krishna, Krishna promises here in this world that maya arpita manobuddhir mam eva eshyasi asamshaya. Without a doubt you will attain me. So if you want to attain Krishna, what you have to do throughout your life, all the time, think about Krishna. So simple. Just think about Krishna, right? So 18 hours a day you think about Krishna, the 6 hours you sleep, you will automatically dream about Krishna. Don't worry, that he will make sure, right? So you have to think about Krishna throughout your life. So that is how at the end of your life you will remember Krishna and you will go back to him, right? So very hope giving words, but it has a lot of depth into it, right? So because our consciousness must be pure, so that we can always think about Krishna. And how do you make your consciousness pure and uncontaminated, clean? How do you do it? So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the first verse of the Shikshashtakam says this. Cheto darpanamarjanam bhavamahadavagni nirvapanam श्रेयकैरव चन्द्रिका वितरणं विद्यावधू जीवनम् आनन्दाम्बुधिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतस्वादनं सर्वात्मा स्नपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम्. This is the Cheto Darpana Marjanam. He says that this Chetana, that is our mind, intelligence, and false ego. Cheto Darpana Marjanam. It cleans it. What does it clean? What cleans the mind or intelligence and false ego? What is that? Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. This Sankirtan of Krishna cleans our heart. Right? Sankirtan means Sangha Kirtan. When you come along with devotees and chant the holy names of the Lord loudly, that is what cleans our heart. And in a clean heart, and along with that, Sankirtan is both Shravanam and Kirtanam. And because of Shravanam and Kirtanam, you are of course going to do Smaranam. So, Kirtan, or doing japa in this age of Kali, because it is a Yuga Dharma, It is going to give you full results, just by doing that. So we have to prioritize like chanting the holy names of Krishna, because when we chant the holy names of Krishna, that is how our polluted, contaminated mind becomes clean and becomes soft like butter. Then the butter thief will come and take you back, right? अभ्यासयोगयुक्तेन चेतसा नान्यगामिना परमं पुरुषं दिव्यं याति पार्थानुचिन्तयन्. अभ्यासयोगयुक्तेन चेतसा नान्यगामिना, right? So abhyasa yoga yuktena, by practicing what? By practicing to be continuously being in connection with Krishna, by having yoga. Wait a minute. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Yeah. So yes, Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena Chetasa na Anya Gamina, which means that by Abhyasa, by practicing, right, Yoga Yuktena and being engaged, with our mind and intelligence in Krishna, Yoga Yuktena, Chetasa na Anya Gamina, like your Chetas, that is your mind and intelligence, na Anya Gamina, means it should not be deviated to some other place. Okay, paramam purusham divyam yati partha anuchintaya. So you can attain paramam purusham divyam, right? Yati. So you can attain it, partha, by doing what? By doing anuchintaya. So what you have to do? You have to abhyasa. You have to practice. Practicing is very important, right? Krishna doesn't say here like it will happen on its own. No, we have to practice. We should have our sadhana. With the help of practice, you have to do what? Yoga yuktena. You have to engage yourself completely. What you have to engage your chetas, that is your intelligence and mind. You have to engage it, right? And do what? You have to do anuchintan. You have to continuously think about Krishna. Continuously think about Krishna. Like Krishna, in like what do you attain then? You will attain Paramam Purusham Divyam. Three things about the Supreme Lord is being mentioned here by Krishna. First thing is Paramam. He is, the personality of Godhead who is the supreme. Paramam is the Paramam Purusham. Purusham means the personality of Godhead, and Paramam means the supreme, right? So he is the supreme most person. Ishwaraha Paramaha Krishnaha Satchitananda Vigraha Anadiradira Govindaha Sarva Karana Karana. Right? Ishwara Parama Krishna. So Krishna is the Parameshwara, or he is the Param Purusha. Right? He is the supreme person. Paramam Purusham Divyam, and he is what? He is transcendental also. He is spiritual. He does not belong to this material world. So you will attain that person who is Paramam Purusham Divyam, who is transcendental. By what? By doing continuously Anuchintan. He who meditates on me as the supreme personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Partha, is sure to reach me. Right? So we have to practice. And when we practice, one day we will have undeviated, attention towards Krishna, undeviated focus on Krishna, undeviated mind and intelligence. And with that, we will, keep on thinking about Krishna and we will attain Him. Right. Now, from this verse onwards, actually, Krishna is going to speak about, Krishna has already spoke about thinking about Him continuously. And now, from this verse onwards, Krishna is going to speak that how you can, think about Him. What all things you can think about Him. That Krishna will say. Kavim, Purusham, so on. So, it's a very deep topic. That's why I'm not just getting into it now. I have seen that it has already passed 1 hour. So we may stop here. We have only took three verses. Actually, these verses have a lot of depth and gravity in it. There is a lot to speak. If we just speak about, yeah, just think about Krishna and just, if we just move on, I don't think we will give justice to the verse. So we should always, we should also think that how can we think continuously about Krishna. That is why I had put a lot of time on that particular verse. So please forgive me for any of my mistakes. And now you can unmute yourself and ask any doubts if you have. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, no doubt.
Hare Krishna. Okay. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.